On this episode of In the Fight, soldiers get water flowing again in Afghanistan's critical green zones. An Afghan crisis response unit leads a night mission against the Taliban. Marines train the Uganda People's Defense Force to combat the Al-Qaeda-linked group Al-Shabaab. A special Coast Guard team hunts for threats in the Atlantic. And a Marine welcomes a new beginning. We begin at Bagram Airfield, where the time for U.S. forces to withdraw from Afghanistan is on the horizon. Recently, service members were on hand for a special visitor and some new information regarding the handover of security to the Afghan forces. Air Force Tech Sergeant David Whitaker files this report.
President Barack Obama thanked troops on Bagram Airfield for their service during an unannounced visit to Afghanistan.
The reason that the Afghans have an opportunity for a new tomorrow is because of you. And the reason America is safe is because of you. I could not be prouder of you.
In addition to visiting service members, the president flew to Kabul, Afghanistan to sign a strategic partnership agreement that outlines future U.S. and Afghan security relations.
Here's part of the reason that I'm here. I just finished signing a strategic partnership agreement with Afghanistan that signals the transition in which we are going to be turning over responsibility for Afghan security to the Afghans.
The president finished his visit by shaking hands with service members.
Now I want to shake some hands.
Marking his third visit to Afghanistan. Tech Sergeant David Whitaker, Bagram Airfield, Afghanistan.
In the arid southern regions of Afghanistan, water is essential, especially in the critical growing areas or green zones. Soldiers radio and television correspondent Gail McCabe takes us on a walk in the Zahari district, where soldiers from the 82nd Airborne are getting the flow of water back on course.
This is a tale about Operation Water Rush and walking.
Basically what we're doing here, we have 3 wadi systems or canals like what you see behind me.
Captain Samuel Perlick knows about both.
And they stretch dozens, if not hundreds of kilometers across southern Afghanistan. When we first arrived here, 2 of the 3 of these wadis were blocked.
The wadis are in Zahari district, an agricultural area in Kandahar province. Thanks to Operation Water Rush and the mutual efforts of local Afghans, the wadis are open, water is moving, and the growing season is underway.
Historically, we're in what's called the green zone of Kandahar. Everywhere where there's lots of agriculture, there's also a lot of fighting.
That brings us to the walking part of this story. ISAF Command Sergeant Major Thomas Capel is here for a fact-finding visit to see how the soldiers of Task Force Fury are doing. This is southern Afghanistan, Taliban territory, potentially lethal, definitely dangerous.
It's called a mine hound. It has metal detector capabilities, along with a GPR, which stands for ground penetrating radar.
Sergeant Mackenzie Smith is on his 2nd Afghan deployment. Different setting, similar threat. And while he hasn't found anything yet,
if you had this or a rifle, what would you choose?
It depends where I'm at. But around here, it sounds like this is winning the war, so I guess I'll take this.
Y'all really got the water running through here.
The Fort Bragg unit has been here just over a month. Most are repeat deployers. All are still learning something new about Afghanistan.
They don't really teach you this at IOBC. But as part of, we call it non-lethal targeting, we can have just as good of effects by accomplishing stuff like this than we can by catching and killing Taliban. Which is kind of hard, striking a balance between the non-lethal targeting with the water And then obviously doing our wartime mission of killing and capturing Taliban is a difficult balance to strike.
Maintaining equilibrium in the days ahead is a recognized challenge. But in a backdrop of freely flowing water, the foundation between U.S. and Afghan is getting stronger step by step. Gail McCabe, Afghanistan.
The element of surprise is important for catching members of the insurgency off guard. With U.S. forces taking a back seat, it's the responsibility of an all-Afghan force known as the Crisis Response Team to take the lead in these night missions. NATO Channel correspondent Alessandro Pavone brings us this story.
The operation begins around midnight. The target is a compound in Surobi, a district north of Kabul. The Afghan soldiers enter through the doorway while the family are sleeping. Members of the Afghan Crisis Response Unit, or CRU, are on operation to capture a Taliban leader. The insurgent commander fled from the house just before the team arrived. Afghan investigators believe these two men are linked to the Taliban. The CRU's investigator is armed with paperwork. He asks questions, writes down details, and takes fingerprints. Outside this compound, Afghan forces discover a number of components to make IDs, Afghan and American Army uniforms, insurgency-related documents, and radio equipment. They decide to release the two suspected men because they can't link them to what they found. While carrying out their investigation, gunfire can be heard around the compound as Apache helicopters engage with local Taliban. The Taliban commander the team was looking for was seriously injured, and 5 insurgents were killed during the operation. The CRU has been operating in Kabul since 2007. Partnered with the New Zealand Special Forces, the 300-strong team has been called to deal with a number of high-profile attacks.
مهمترین جالبترین وظیفه در کانتیننتال بعضی سفارت کنسولگری بریتانیا و وزارت عدلیه.
Night operations are one of the major causes of friction between Afghan President Hamid Karzai and the US government. More and more now, Afghans are taking the lead in these operations.
چیزی که جناب رئیس جمهور روی از او همیشه تاکید کردن قانونمند شدن عملیات ها بوده و اجراات ما مطابق قانون بوده که این اجراات ما باید مطابق قانون باشه و احترام به حریم خانواده و زندگی افغان ها.
The mentors for the CRU say the Afghans will often produce the intelligence, identify a target, organize and execute the operation. They only really need help with logistics and supplies of certain equipment. ISAF hope the more Afghans take over these operations, the less tension they'll cause, as such missions are the most effective way of disrupting insurgent activity. Alessandro Pavone in Kabul, Afghanistan for the NATO Channel.
How's it going? My name's Lance Corporal Dane Trombley. I was 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines. I'd like to give a shout out to my loved ones back home, Morristown, New York. I love you guys and I'll see you soon.
Hello, my name is Lieutenant J.D. Tranquillo. I'm stationed here in Kandahar, Afghanistan in the Trauma Bay at the NATO Role 3. I'd just like to take a minute to say hi to my wife, Regina, and also to my son, Antonio. I love you, I miss you, and I'll be home soon.
Hi, my name is HM2 Charles Knight, serve with 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines. Just like to give a shout out to my family and friends back in Clarksville, Tennessee, and my beautiful wife, Amber Knight.
Hello, I am Staff Sergeant Nicholas Cademartori with the 1st Battalion of the 21st Infantry Regiment, 2nd BCT of the 25th Infantry Division, here on lovely Rodriguez Range, South Korea, in support of Full Eagle 2012. I would like to give a shout out to my lovely wife, NANGARHAR, in MASAN, South Korea. 안녕하세요, 자기야. 공주님, 너는 사랑해요.
Coming up, Marines train the Uganda People's Defense Force in SINGO. And the Coast Guard hunts for threats in the Atlantic. Check out dvidshub.net for the latest accurate and reliable information as In the Fight continues. Which war first saw the use of a night vision device? The answer when we return.
With the new Military 24/7 app from Divots, you turn your favorite mobile device into a window to the front lines. Connect with your nation's finest men and women through our video and photography archives and stay up to date with news reported directly from service members. Quickly share information and breaking stories with friends via Facebook, Twitter, or email. News, photos, video. Your military 24/7.
Which war first saw the use of a night vision device? The answer is D, World War II. Few may know that Forward Operating Base FENTY was the launch point of the raid that killed Osama bin Laden. As many observe the one-year anniversary of that raid, Army Sergeant Tanagachi Mifune talks to a flight crew about what it took to execute such a mission.
On the one-year anniversary of the air assault mission that killed 9/11 mastermind Osama bin Laden, flight crews from Forward Operating Base FENTY, where the raid team launched from, reflected on the historic feat of their peers.
I was kind of amazed by the pilot's skill. I mean, they really had to use some skill to get out there. Just knowing about the type of environment this is out here, the challenges of flying that distance, finding a place in the dark, and then coming back and essentially with no injuries for the U.S. forces. It's an amazing feat.
Chinook pilot William Haynes and his crew routinely fly night missions.
Basically, one of the main things you want to do is maintain secrecy and OPSEC. Lots of stuff's leaking out these days on like social media and stuff like that. So basically keep yourself safe by keeping that information tight.
While operating under the cover of darkness keeps Chinook crews safer, they still have to contend with flying over the same mountainous terrain as daytime pilots.
Really, for us, flying at night is a trade-off. Less likely to be shot at by the enemy due to them being not able to see us, but the challenge becomes more environmental. And the mountains that we fly into, the Hindu Kush Mountains, can be anywhere from 7,000 up to as much as 20+ thousand feet.
Despite these obstacles, Haynes says his crew is able to accomplish their mission every night. From Nangarhar, I'm Army Sergeant Tanagachi Mifune.
Since 2007, U.S. forces have been working with the African Union to support the African Union mission in Somalia. One of the several tasks of this regional peacekeeping mission is to play a vital role in combating Islamic militants. Air Force Staff Sergeant Ashley Sidedeth explains in this story.
The Uganda People's Defense Force, or UPDF, supplies the majority of soldiers to the African Union mission in Somalia, or AMAZON, which is combating Al-Shabaab, and an Al-Qaeda-linked group operating in East Africa. Here at Camp SINGO, U.S. Marines train the UPDF to equip them with the skills and confidence necessary for combat deployments to Somalia. Today, UPDF soldiers here are exchanging practices with U.S. Marines on combat medical skills, which are essential to saving lives in the field. U.S. Marine Corps Major Mark Haley says the U.S. Marines play an instrumental role in preparing the UPDF for combat.
Having the Marines here, sharing our skill sets, our experiences in other parts of the world that we've obviously had in the last 10 years, we come and give that to the Ugandans, which have their own problem with a counterinsurgency that's going on in Somalia.
The Chief of Defense Forces in Uganda says the training at Camp SINGO greatly helps prepare the UPDF for the challenges they may face in Somalia.
We thank our instructors there, our partners there, that they have enabled us to get those capabilities to stand up to the challenge very, very successfully.
Reporting from SINGO, Uganda, I'm U.S. Air Force Staff Sergeant Ashley Sidedeth.
Most people who join the military have a sense of patriotism when they put on the uniform. Marine Corporal Ed Gallo reports on one patriotic Marine who wore the uniform before even becoming a United States citizen.
Many people who join the Marine Corps are already American citizens, but others take the oath of enlistment years before pledging the oath of allegiance. Sergeant Rolando Ventura the non-commissioned officer in charge of Regimental Combat Team 6's administrative section, was born in El Salvador and came to the United States when he was 11 in search of a better life.
Growing up, it was, we were poor. I mean, but still, we live kind of comfortably because my mom always used to, send money back. So, we weren't that poor. But thinking about it right now, it was tough.
Sergeant Ventura became a Marine at 19. When he joined the Marine Corps, he was only a legal resident and not yet a citizen.
I joined the Marine Corps because, I was trying to go to school, working 2 jobs at a factory and at a restaurant, and I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life.
Sergeant Ventura became a United States citizen 2 years ago. It was an 11-year process, but he is proud to be a citizen.
I chose to become a citizen because, like everybody like in my family was a citizen already, My mom is a citizen, my brother, my wife, my daughter, so, like it was like the right thing to do, Like I'm already serving the United States Marine Corps, so, might as well become a citizen.
Even though he is deployed to Afghanistan, Sergeant Ventura makes the most of it by working out and taking college classes.
As of now, I'm not sure yet, but I would love to do 20 years. I would love to do 20 years, I like what I'm doing.
Although he is still unsure of what the future has in store for him, Sergeant Ventura is sure about one thing. He's proud to be an American and proud to serve the country he now calls home. For Regimental Combat Team 6, I'm Corporal Ed Gallo.
It's that time of the year for a unique U.S. Coast Guard team known as the International Ice Patrol to begin its hunt. Joint Hometown News Service correspondent Scott Williams introduces us to this team that started 100 years ago, shortly after the sinking of the Titanic.
From the air, traveling at 1,500 feet, icebergs might not seem like much, but if you run into it, it's a different story. The Coast Guard's International Ice Patrol searches the Atlantic Ocean all around Newfoundland. Using radars and spotters, they hunt for icebergs. Camouflaged in high seas and hiding in sea ice, icebergs aren't easy to find. It's a tricky business, and the crews fly long missions, sometimes in bad weather, to spot them.
The job is very tricky. We have the North Atlantic Current, the Labrador Current, along with the Gulf Stream that all come together around the Grand Banks of Newfoundland.
When icebergs break off, they can be in any shape or size. From shore on this day in St. John's, Newfoundland, 3 icebergs were visible, and a massive flat one stuck in the main harbor. St. John's, Newfoundland is about 350 miles from where the Titanic sank. It's also where icebergs traditionally travel. Icebergs are a part of life in Newfoundland. For the International Ice Patrol, icebergs are their reason for being. They boast a record of 0 iceberg collisions since the Titanic sank. That is, if the ships use the information.
We want to honor the dead that were lost 100 years ago. That's a very important part of this period. But we also want to continue to refine the Ice Patrol mission.
This year promises to be a busy one. Last season, 2 icebergs were found in the shipping zones. This year, the Ice Patrol is tracking 90 known objects. They found 23 icebergs on this mission and launched a buoy to help predict drift patterns. 100 years ago, the Titanic sank. Since then, the International Ice Patrol makes shipping lanes safer as they scan the seas and warn the mariners about the dangers ahead. Scott Williams, St. John's, Newfoundland.
Hello, my name's Lieutenant Commander Cowding, and I want to tell my kids, Sarah and Seth, how much I love them and miss them. Make sure you listen to your mother, and everything is going good over here in Afghanistan, and I'll be home soon. Love you guys.
Hello, I'm Specialist Warren Feely with 1st Battalion, 21st Infantry, 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 25th Infantry Division, here on Rodriguez Range, South Korea, in support of Full Eagle 2012. I'd like to give a shout out to my wife Mandy and my daughter Tara back in Schofield Barracks. I love you guys, and I'll be home soon.
Hey, this is Sergeant Warren Miller with 1st Maintenance Battalion in Marj, Afghanistan, giving a shout out to all my family and friends in Omaha, Nebraska. Just want to say I love you and miss you, and I'm looking forward to getting home.
Hi, I'm Gil Campo, stationed here at Later Road to Kandahar, Afghanistan. From Oak Harbor, Washington, I want to say hi to my children, Joshua, Gabriella, and my beautiful wife, Jeanette. I love you and miss you, and I will see you soon.
Coming up, the Marines dominate at the 2012 Warrior Games. And we'll showcase some of the best photos from our service members as In the Fight, presented by Divots, continues. The Coast Guard was originally created in what year? The answer when we return.
The environment is my passion. Every day, I live for the outdoors and all of its challenges. That's why I enlisted in the Coast Guard. Now, I serve to protect the environment and defend my country. It's like I was born for this.
Were you born ready for a greater challenge? Find out at gocoastguard.com.
I want to give a shout out to my family and friends.
I want to send a shout out to my husband,
to my parents, my family back home.
I'd like to give a shout out to my girlfriend,
to my family and friends in Lansing, Michigan,
to my family out in Tucson, Arizona,
to my beautiful wife and children in Des Moines, Iowa,
to everybody in Texas,
in York, Pennsylvania,
Colorado Springs, Colorado,
Chicago, Illinois,
Harrisonburg, Virginia,
Orlando, Florida, Oceanside, California,
and Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
I love you guys. I miss you, and I hope I'll see you soon.
The Coast Guard was originally created in what year? The answer is A, 1790. This year at the 2012 Warrior Games, the Marine team won a record 89 medals, earning the Chairman's Cup for the third year in a row. Some medals seemed to come easy, while others, like wheelchair basketball, put up a significant challenge. Marine Lance Corporal John Tucker brings us this story.
The Marines wheelchair basketball team fought its way to the championship matchup, but fell short of gold, earning the silver medal at the 2012 Warrior Games. The Marines played well against the defending champions, but ended the game with a 54-34 loss against their rival Army team. But for players like Lance Corporal Carlos Garcia, just being able to play is more important than winning gold.
To me, honestly, it's just still, you can go out there and win stuff like this, you know? You don't feel like you're broken or something like that.
Whether on the battlefield or the court, the Marines always stand by one another.
Everybody, we always have each other's back. We make a mistake, either we yell at each other or we correct each other. It's one of the two. But regardless of if we end up yelling at each other, we usually end up apologizing to each other and just go back out there.
Earning silver moved the Marine team one medal closer to bringing home the Chairman's Cup. From Colorado Springs, I'm Lance Corporal John Tucker.
As injured service members return home from their deployment, some find that they struggle trying to make the transition to civilian life. For others whose careers in the military have ended early, they have a hard time making ends meet. Marine Corporal Daniel Wolse introduces us to a retired Marine who, with the help from a special program, is receiving a new beginning.
Recently, retired Staff Sergeant Vincent Gizzarelli and his family moved into a new house. For the Gizzarelli family, home has been an elusive concept. On September 11, 2001, Gizzarelli was serving in Kosovo, and a year later he re-enlisted, transferred to 1st Battalion, 2nd Marine Regiment, and deployed to Iraq.
I love the infantry. I just loved it, and I decided, I went to the career planner and said, I want to go to the next deploying unit. And we ended up going to the invasion in '03, so.
During 2 deployments to Iraq, Gizzarelli suffered multiple injuries during combat, including shrapnel, post-traumatic stress disorder, and traumatic brain injury.
The gunny in my shop said, I can tell you're struggling, and I know it's not from lack of effort because you're here all day. And he says, is there something wrong? I said, I don't know. I can't focus. And I'm missing simple things, and I went and got checked out for it, and turned out I had a TBI.
Gizzarelli returned home after his deployments and tried to move on with his life. However, the wounds, both physical and emotional, lingered. In 2009, he was medically retired from the Marine Corps.
It hasn't been easy since I got out of the Marine Corps. financially, emotionally, it's been very difficult.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate your patience with us today as we get started.
But then in 2011, the Ghizzarellis were selected to receive a new house from Operation Finally Home, a non-profit organization designed to provide homes to wounded warriors. The Ghizzarellis were not only selected because of their sacrifice, but also because of their willingness to help others, to include becoming the foster parents to 3 young boys.
We didn't know it at the time, but they had told us, we'll get back to you. I guess they had decided that day that these are the people for this house.
I love it, Lori.
You got it?
Oh, yeah.
The Ghizzarellis don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, and they never will. But for the first time, they are finally home. Reporting from Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune, I'm Corporal Daniel Wolves.
No. Girls aren't allowed up there. No. It's begun already.
DVDS is a 24/7 operation that provides a timely, accurate, and reliable connection between the media and the military serving worldwide. Through a network of over 200 portable satellite transmitters around the globe and a distribution hub in Atlanta, Georgia, DVDS gives you access to the front lines with live and archived broadcast video, still imagery, and print products. Visit our website at dvidshub.net and search through our enormous video and photo library. Register on our website to gain complete access to high-definition content, along with breaking news alerts and webcasts from top military officials. For questions or comments about In the Fight or DVDS, you can email us at ondemand@dvidshub.net or follow us on Twitter and Facebook. As we close, we feature some of the best photos that DVDS has to offer as we listen to Eddie Horst's composition, Pangea. See you next time, In the Fight.